Hey, what is up everybody? It's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and if you thought that the previous chapter was rough on Bakugo and the heroes, it only gets way worse. The heroes were beaten and humiliated, and they're trying their best just to stay alive long enough for Deku to arrive. At this rate, Deku might find a bunch of dead bodies by the time he finally gets there, and we need to talk about it. You guys know what to do. Leave a quick like and comment right now to support the video in that YouTube algorithm. And of course, subscribing and hitting that notification bell is a completely free way of directly supporting the channel. Finally, this video will contain Boku no Hero manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. Last time, we saw that Bakugo was in serious, life-threatening danger as Shigaraki approached him with the intention to both humiliate him and kill him. Due to the fact that Bakugo was already injured at this point, it was practically impossible for him to fight back or get away. So his only hope was that he would be rescued by the other heroes. With the pro heroes on the scene indisposed, the only ones who rushed to help Bakugo were the strongest hero students, the big three: Sun Eater, Nejire, and of course, Mirio. In the latest chapter, we see Shigaraki walking up to Bakugo and casually stepping on his head. He asks where Deku is because he knows that Deku was supposed to be there, and he's hoping that Deku will arrive soon. As we know, Shigaraki / All For One need Deku to be there in order to try to steal One For All from him, which means that they are prepared to do whatever it takes to draw Deku out. Shigaraki then hilariously uses his toes to pull Bakugo up by the hair. He then tosses him up in the air and grabs him by the throat. I mean, this isn't just beating up Bakugo, this is straight up flexing on him. Shigaraki says that he plans to kill Bakugo and then present his dead body as a present to Deku. Since Deku became enraged when Shigaraki seriously injured Bakugo back in Jakku, the villain knows that he can use Bakugo and his potential death to rattle Deku and wage psychological warfare against him. Shigaraki then talks about how Bakugo grew up watching All Might's heroics and he probably thought that he too would one day be able to compare to All Might. But it's now time for Bakugo to face the dark truth. No matter how hard he tries, he will never compare to All Might and he will always be living in Deku's shadow. And wow man, this type of talk really emphasizes the fact that All For One is in control of Shigaraki's body at the moment and not Shigaraki himself. I say that because All For One is known for waging this type of psychological warfare and mocking his opponents in battle in order to destroy them mentally. And what he is doing to Bakugo right now is highly calculated. He knows exactly who Bakugo is, how much he idolizes All Might, and how much he hates the idea of living in Deku's shadow. At the same time, he also knows how much Deku cares about his friends and classmates, so he knows that he can use Bakugo against Deku. He can potentially get Deku to lose focus or to let his anger cloud his judgment, which would provide the villain with an important tactical advantage. One moment of weakness on Deku's part is all that All For One needs to steal One For All. And that is exactly what the villain intends to do. He is planning to exploit Deku's weaknesses, which are his desire to save everyone and especially his friends, in order to get his hands on One For All. But before Shigaraki can choke the life out of Bakugo, Bakugo is saved by Nejire, Sun Eater, and Mirio, who attempt to outmaneuver Shigaraki using teamwork and also using the unique properties of their three quirks. Sun Eater even tries to poison Shigaraki using Scorpion Toxin, but Shigaraki laughs it off as his body literally manifests a mouth in the place on his arm where he was stung. And that mouth then straight up spits the poison right out of the body. As Shigaraki's mutations begin to overwhelm Sun Eater, Shigaraki explains that his body is now constantly changing and adapting. But while Shigaraki was focusing on fighting off Nejire and Sun Eater, Mirio managed to sneak up on him, grab Bakugo, and throw him to safety. Shigaraki then notices Mirio and says that he remembers Mirio from Jakku. Mirio then formally introduces himself as the hero Lemillion. Mirio seems to think that Shigaraki's destructive tendencies come from the fact that he never had any friends. And Shigaraki's like, what? But as Mirio is lecturing the villain about friendship, he is actually planning out a strategy to keep Shigaraki at bay until Deku arrives. Mirio knows that with his strength alone, he cannot hope to win against Shigaraki. But he plans to use the energy from Nejire's quirk, which has been wrapped around his arm, to deliver a powerful point-blank hit on Shigaraki. As Mirio uses permeation to move through Shigaraki's mutation in order to reach the main body and deliver his attack, we see that Genist has successfully pulled Bakugo to safety and is trying to determine the extent of the student's injuries. Genist tells Bakugo to let him sew up the wound on his arm, and he also says that Shigaraki's power is in a whole different dimension now, so Bakugo doesn't need to beat himself up over the fact that he lost. But Bakugo isn't listening. Instead, Bakugo is carefully watching the battle between Shigaraki and the Big Three, and he seems to be trying to get a handle on Shigaraki's fighting style. Bakugo appears to be trying to find patterns in Shigaraki's movements in order to come up with an effective way to counter them. Genist is shocked that even after all the damage that he took, Bakugo is still not finished and he is still trying to find a way to contribute to the fight, and that is how this chapter ends. Deku is still MIA. We still don't know what exactly is going on with All For One's original body, but Horikoshi is definitely hinting that Deku will have to arrive at the UA soon, because if he doesn't, we will likely witness some major deaths on that battlefield. Things are getting bad. But before we go any further, I have to once again express my utmost respect for Bakugo in this situation and in the fight in general. All For One / Shigaraki is clearly a monster, and even though Bakugo is also strong and even though he has improved a lot since Jakku, he simply doesn't stand a chance against Shigaraki in a one-on-one matchup. That's just the way it is. Being the cocky and fiery guy that he is, this is not easy for Bakugo to accept. And if that wasn't bad enough, the villain is also mocking him constantly in a very cruel and calculated way, calling him the very thing that Bakugo is determined not to be, a side character who just lives in the shadow of Deku. And yet, Bakugo didn't lose his cool, he didn't freak out, and he didn't give up even against overwhelming odds. Even though he is severely injured, he is not worried about getting medical help or evacuating from the battlefield. Instead, Bakugo is carefully watching Shigaraki in order to find an opening in his technique. Even now, after everything he's been through, Bakugo is trying to find the villain's weakness. This really shows how far Bakugo has come and how much he has matured. He is now able to control his emotions even in overwhelmingly stressful situations. And he is able to be a team player instead of trying to do everything by himself and freaking out if things don't go his way. I know we're at a point in the story where there are a ton of epic fights going on and it's easy to focus on that, but we can't forget to appreciate some of the crazy character development that has been going on here, especially with Endeavor and Bakugo. So what is Bakugo going to do here? Is he going to figure out something important about Shigaraki's fighting style, something that could give an advantage to the heroes? Clearly, Bakugo isn't at full strength at this point. He has been seriously injured, and he can't expect to beat Shigaraki on his own. But if he can work together as a team with the Big Three and the other heroes, maybe they can find a way to buy enough time for Deku to arrive. Can Mirio and the Big Three hold their own against Shigaraki for long enough, or is someone going to die before Deku arrives? As things stand, I think that Deku has to appear very soon, because things are not looking good for the heroes. They may be able to buy a little bit more time using whatever Bakugo seems to be planning, but sooner or later someone will be killed by Shigaraki. I really hope we get to see Deku in the next chapter because the suspense of what is going on with him is freaking intense. What do you guys think? Are we going to see Deku soon, or is Horikoshi going to continue teasing us with his arrival? Also, will Deku make it on time to save everyone, or is he going to find a grim present from Shigaraki when he does finally arrive? If someone ends up getting killed before he gets there, who do you think it will be? Let me know down below. If you guys enjoyed this Boku no Hero breakdown and you want to see more in the future, leave a quick like and comment. It really helps with that YouTube algorithm. And of course, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you watch our videos but you just haven't taken the time to subscribe yet, do me a quick favor and subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. It is a completely free but very important way of directly supporting the channel. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. I want to give a big thank you to all of our Anime Uproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. Special thank you to our The One tier patrons, the ones who stand above all other clans, including Alpha Sigma, Pate Heffa, The Toasted Chi, Corey McGowan, Baked Buddhist, and Jeremy Pontier. And I can't forget all of our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Angel Cruz, Alicia Octer, Fatboy Games, Kaido Might Be a Duck, Alivania, and Anime S Code M. If you guys enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value for you, consider supporting us on Patreon or here through YouTube memberships. Even a single dollar helps, and it means a lot to us. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.